have Mr. WatchJRGo, Mr. John Ross Lumbert, with us today. I'm excited. It's the first Zoom call we've done with the podcast, so this should open up a whole new world for me. I'm not super tech savvy on that stuff. He obviously is, and we'll get into some of that in his career and all that kind of stuff a little bit later. But I'll tell a quick backstory because my wife is probably tired of hearing this. But you and I met on Express Rally Essentials, like the first one, right?
Yeah, a couple of years ago now. Yeah.
You and your buddy, what's his name? They were on the motorcycles.
Zach. It was Zach and I that did the bikes, yeah.
Yep. So met you guys down there, started following you after that. Dude, you had like 1,700 and something subscribers at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
August of 18. How many do you have now?
Right about 250,000. I can't wait for it to roll over. It's like right on the edge.
Dude, that's insane. So we're going to get into kind of a little bit of that because obviously we would love for our channel to grow a little bit. So maybe we can kind of pick your brain some on that.
Sure.
But really the reason you're here is because you're a car guy.
Yeah.
You have bought and sold more cars than anybody I think I know, really.
I go through a few of them.
Yeah, flips, motorcycles, boats.
Yep. Well, one boat. I'm going for more boats one of these days, but boats are complicated because you got to put them somewhere and you got to have something to tow them with, and it's just a lot more. Yeah. Cars move themselves.
That's awesome. So I've been watching some of the later videos here, the most recent ones. You have a new project.
I do.
That you got a ton of parts for today.
Yeah, my whole front porch was covered. I'm sure UPS or FedEx doesn't appreciate it.
They're like, okay, we're tired of unloading this stuff.
Yeah. Tires yesterday, wheels today, full fuel injection system today, exhaust. I don't even know. I haven't opened the boxes yet.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, because like you literally posted 10 minutes ago with a front porch. It was insane.
Yeah, it's basically my entire 67 Camaro in a box, a bolt-in swap, top to bottom.
That's badass. So what engine are you putting in it?
LS2 out of a Saab 9.7 Aero.
Nice.
Which is just, the Trailblazer SS, but it's the cooler Trailblazer SS.
Yeah. So I was seeing in, I think it's like your latest Camaro video, your 5th gen, this car's going to be LS Fest East.
Yes, it'll be done it'll probably run this week. It could. I don't know. I planned on having the engine in today, but then I have a dentist appointment. I need to sell my 5th gen today, and I got to get the wheels and tires mounted today. And there's so much that needs to go on, and I need to make a run to the transmission shop to buy parts that I don't think I'm going to have the engine in today. So I'm just kind of being lazy and dealing with that stuff, and we'll get that engine in this week.
Well, I mean, you have 3 weeks.
Yeah. I got plenty of time, honestly, because it needs to be done the day before, and we'll throw it on a trailer and go.
Yep. So now LS Fest East is September 11th, right?
Yep, 11th through 13th. Yep.
In that video, you said that Holly reached out and they're like, hey, we've still got this spot for the
burnout competition.
Rolls Smoke.
Yeah, it's for the Rolls Smoke. That's what we kind of intended. But the axle got lost in transit for the Rolls Royce, and it was sitting in Atlanta for multiple weeks.
That sucks. All right, so tell people about that car because that car's badass.
It's a 79 Rolls Royce Silver Wraith 2, which is just a silver shadow but long wheelbase, kind of like a BMW 7 Series L. It's got a LS6 from a CTSV with a full nitrous outlet kit on it, the plate, and MechMan alternator, ICT billet, all the mounts, and then everything else was fabbed by hand. Basically, the whole car was hand built for the swap. We put a 4L80 from a GM 3/4 ton van in it, and then we took it out for the first run. It's a full Holly build too, with a Terminator X Max for transmission control, all that good stuff, and 12-inch touchscreen in the dash to see the engine vitals and do tuning and stuff.
Fancy.
Yeah, that car is legitimately fancy. I love that thing, and we took it out for its test runs. It did 2 burnouts, one big one like kind of smaller one, and then we were trying to tune in the throttle tip in because it was dying when I would floor it. And we got it right, and the entire rear end exploded. Like it scattered it all over the neighborhood. But luckily, it was in my neighborhood, and it was like midnight when we went out and launched it for the test. And I was like, yep, we're done. And we walked home, locked the doors, and just left it in the street. I was like, we'll deal with this in the morning.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's got
So now
power.
it'll get an 8.8. And
It showed up yesterday actually. So now we do have a rear end, and we have considered trying to get both cars done really fast and trailer them both. But I think we should not do that plan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because, dude, I think that car is going to be like, that's an elevated build in my opinion.
I love
there's
that.
There's very few of those.
Yeah, there are. And it's really clean. Yeah. So,
That's awesome.
It's like ratty, but the build is clean.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. So let's kind of start back a little bit. If like, go back to when you're a kid, like 10, 11 years old, are you a car guy then?
Yeah, I rebuilt my first like lawnmower engine when I was 5 with my dad. We had a little tiny shop that was, I mean, like the size of my closet now. This shop was, it was like, I don't know, 7 foot wide and it was like it's really a closet, like a walk-in closet, 7 by 10 foot kind of thing.
Dang.
And we had a workbench and a toolbox in there, and that was it. And yeah, we'd bring in lawnmower engines and my mini bike. I had a little 5 horsepower mini bike and stuff.
Yep.
And rebuilt the lawnmower engine. I think I still have that lawnmower somewhere. It eventually threw a rod 10 years later, but
Dang, that's awesome. So you've always been around this kind of stuff. So,
yeah. At least wrenching on stuff, not like builds. My dad like is anti-performance. He thinks that like the factory engineers are the best and there is no better, which is true sometimes,
Yep.
but definitely not true in our world where we're working on LS stuff.
Yeah. Like I drove the old truck today. I mean, I want turbo LS 500 wheel horsepower
Right.
in my 60 GMC truck. I want to run the kids around in that thing.
That's the formula. Yeah. And once I just did a Holley EFI on my 65 Ford too. And of course it's a monster now. It had a 2-barrel on it and there was no throttle response and no power. It was like gutless, but like a good cruiser. And now you lean into the throttle and you're like, oh man, this is a very different truck.
And it'll start at 35 degrees in the morning.
It'll start when it's freezing. I can't tell you, when we drug that thing home before we did the swap, I cranked it for like 60 seconds one day in the cold before it would fire off. It hated its life.
Yep. And that's, I mean, we're doing a Holley Sniper setup on a 57 Bel Air, and that's what he wants to do. They daily drive like an Acura, and so they want to be able to get in the 57, do the same thing.
Yeah, and all those old engines are like, they're not good, right? They're not efficient. They don't make any power, but they're dead reliable once you put EFI on them. Like nothing can ever go wrong. You just change the oil and put gas in them. Yeah. So they'll never wear out after that. I don't know why everyone doesn't do it, because the carburetor is the weak point.
Everybody's scared of wiring, even though it's like 4.
It's literally 4. You're so right, because it's got what, like it's got a ground and power, and then a key on and a start signal, and that's it. It runs. Yeah, and heaven forbid you have to run a electric fuel pump wire. I know, right? Those 2 wires. Dude, car's probably already wired for it anyways. It is, yeah. So easy. Definitely not rocket science. Right. So with you being around stuff like that all the time, I mean, like, what'd you learn to drive on? Was it something cool, or was it just a old rig? Old Mazda manual. I had to rebuild the engine on it before I. Really? Yeah. I had an old dirt bike. We found it in an alley, right? Up in McPherson, Kansas. My dad was working up there a bunch and was like, "Hey, I saw this bike back here. Let's go look at it." He was like, "Well, this one's yours if you want. You got $50." So I went and paid the guy who we found it behind his house $50. Engine was in pieces. Put that together. And that bike, it's a Yamaha 175 Enduro, and it's worth like a lot. And my parents were like, "We'll trade you this bike for your first car." They paid $300 for that car. That bike was worth so much more money. I took the worst end of that deal. He still has it, so at least I can get it back at some point. Yeah. Surely you can talk him out of that. Right. I've tried. It hasn't worked. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so you go from that. You learn to drive in that. You've had a bunch of stuff, but talk about the high school Z28 car. Yeah. So that was my first good car, really. And the other ones were just kind of that old Mazda 4-cylinder, and then I got a Jaguar XJ6 Sovereign that I was out street racing. Everybody is a 92, and we're out trying to like street race LS cars, and one of my friends, I'm still friends with him, was sitting there driving with like somebody sitting shotgun shooting on like the worst camera phone you've ever seen, and he's eating Doritos and like racing. It's like, I was like, yeah, okay, my car is slow.
That's awesome.
But yeah, then I got my 94 Z28 Camaro, and that was all my time and effort building that.
Yeah.
Then sold it, it got destroyed, bought it back 10 years later.
That's awesome. So what's the plan for that car? Like will it be LS and the driver?
No, it will be LT again. The new gen LT, LT4 or something like that. I'd like it
Oh,
to be
hell
the
yeah.
LT. Yeah. And
That's
I want to
awesome.
I just want to buy a whole nother car and go front to back. That way we've got all the stuff out of the new Camaro, like the LT4, the ELSD, the like 8 or 10 speed trans, whatever's in
Yep.
it. Yeah. I want it to be the new car just shoved in the old body.
That's awesome.
Who knows when it'll happen? Because
Yeah, I'm with you.
it's so hard to find the new cars at reasonable prices. Like you're looking at 25, 30 grand for a wrecked one.
Yep. And then you're going to spend tons of time. And I mean, like
all the time.
that's a full on build. That's almost the build like the R8.
Yeah.
Not.
I'd say the R8 was quite a bit easier, actually. The R8 was like a 6K job.
God, dude, and we're going to get on that here in just a minute because that's a cool story too. Like, I want to talk about the lead up to the R8 and things like that.
You can talk about how buying cars specifically for YouTube tanks and doesn't work at all. That's where we're going with that.
No, I was going to the like the length of time. It's weird to watch your videos like and go from something you're flipping in like an afternoon to like the R8 that's months and months of time.
So the R8 was really just like I think it was crushing disappointment because I bought the car just for YouTube because supercars and this is what everybody wants, and it turns out it didn't work at all and it wasn't making me any money. So I just we got the engine out in about a week. It took less than a week to get the engine out and figured out how all that went, bagged all the parts, and then I was just like, I don't want to work on this anymore. So I just stopped for about a year. So yeah,
it took some time to get some parts and
it did, but it was like 3 weeks.
Like
It's
I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt here.
I'm not. I mean, I'll be completely honest about it. There's no like benefit of the doubt or anything. Like the engine took maybe a week, and I'd say the cat took about a week, but everything else was basically in stock, and I was just like putting parts on a shelf and forgetting about them because I didn't.
Dang.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, I've been there. Listen, the first time I got an old truck and it didn't start, it's set for like a month. Okay, I've done everything right. It won't start. This is going over here for a minute.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we just left it up on jack stands, forgot about it, shut the lights off in the garage, and never revisited it because it wasn't doing me any good. And eventually I just got tired of it sitting in the garage.
Yep. But now it's done, right?
Yeah, it's been done for a long time. It's been in Florida for maybe 2 months or something.
That's awesome.
When I dropped it off, I said, keep it as long as you want. I don't want it back because I don't have any garage space. Yeah. And I need the garage space.
We're going to get into that in a minute, how many cars and bikes you own, because it's been a bunch for sure.
It has. But yeah, that's why it's a bit like abandoned in Florida. They're still driving it, tuning it. They've got it on the dyno.
Yep.
But no ETA, and it'll be back one of these years.
Yep. Well, and I mean, that car, it had broken a piston or something, right?
Yeah, basically the top of the piston was gone, all the ringlets. So it just an over rev or overboost.
Twin turbo and all this fun stuff. And so it's probably a good idea because like the projects we have, I mean, dude, we'll turn them out, we finish them, we drive them like 10 miles and then it goes to the customer.
Right.
Like they call me, they're like, hey man, I got this going. I'm like, okay, bring it back up. We don't do any of that downtime, cruise it around, make sure it's fine. So
Right.
that'll change with the Grand Wagoneer we're finishing now. But all right, so let's back up a little bit.
Sure.
Let's talk about jobs.
Yeah.
I want to go from like kind of like your job and what you did into like how you make the decision of like, hey, I'm going to do YouTube full time.
Oh, well, I've been at like in my IT job for 7 years, quite a while, right?
Yep.
And it was kind of one of those things where I planned on staying in IT, but then we started making YouTube videos, and I'd basically work all day, come straight home, shoot, work for like 3 hours on a car, edit until 1 or 2 in the morning, and it was, every day over and over and over because daily content.
Yep.
And yeah, so eventually, like the numbers on YouTube started to go up, and I just kept working at it. And then for Monterey, I guess it's been well over a year, hasn't it? Yeah, a year and change. It was Monterey last year. We went in
Yeah.
July or something, August, whenever it is. And then I took off a whole month, and then I came
Dang.
back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had so much vacation time stacked up because
Right.
I just didn't take that much vacation. And I came back after like a month and a week or something, and they were like, "We're letting you go," and I was like, "All right, I guess that's it. Like, can I go get my stuff?" There was no more like conversation there. I
Yeah.
was kind of happy because if they didn't push me out, then I probably would have never left because you just get comfortable, right? And
Yep.
sometimes it's good to be, scared to death that you're not going to be able to pay your mortgage.
Yep. So then at that point, I mean, I remember watching the video like, dude, this guy is my hero. I'm sure you probably get that quite a bit from a bunch of
I
folks.
I don't know. I just got fired from like a career job. I don't know if that makes me a hero, but it did make me go actually do what I needed to be doing, which was making
Yep.
YouTube, working on cars. So
Yep.
yeah,
And you've worked on, I think what's great about your channel is the uh I don't know, the width
breath.
that you work on.
Yeah,
Like
I don't care what it
Volvo
is.
C30, first gen Camaro,
Yep.
you know, I think one of the older ones, like a lifted truck that's like on 54s or something crazy.
Yeah, yeah. That is like
You've always got something crazy going on.
bulletproof 6.0 Ford Power Stroke truck with like it was like 48 inches of lift or something. Yeah, it was a lot. It was
Yeah,
cool.
that truck is insane.
It was fun. It was hard to express what that truck was on video. I kind of tried, but I think my favorite thing was I just roll down the highway and we'd be about 8 to 12 inches above the semi truck drivers, right? So we just like stick our head out the window and like look down at them, and they'd always be looking up like, what on earth is this
Yeah.
nonsense, right?
Yep.
So it was really
So
fun. Yeah.
my brother has his truck is a 10-inch lift on 40s. I can't imagine what that truck is like to drive because
Now,
people just gawk at his truck. So I can only imagine that one.
luckily, it had cameras in the wheel wells and rear cameras. It was like fully surrounded by cameras with a bunch of screens on the where the mirror was.
Oh,
So
that's
you could
awesome.
look down and try to make sure that the wheels were clear so you didn't like run over somebody because they would get under the truck. Like people would get under the thing because you can just walk under it.
Yeah, I
So,
guess that makes sense. And I mean, like in his, you can't see small cars, two-door
right.
things like that. But that car, I mean, you may not see like a Suburban in front.
Right. You literally could. I could take my Fiat 500 was in front of me once, and I pulled the bumper like all the way up to the roof, and I couldn't tell there was a car there at all. It was just
Wow,
gone. Yeah.
that's
It was,
crazy.
a big
That's
truck.
great. Right. So, how many vehicles do you think you've owned? Like,
Oh,
maybe not. I mean, I know like a flip is, you may not necessarily own it by the,
sure.
how,
Sure.
how many have come through your hands?
Oh, I don't know. I'd guess in the low hundreds. I don't know, 100,
Dude, that's
200,
awesome.
something. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
bunch.
Yeah. I don't really know for sure, but I mean, right now I have 15. So at any given time, I have 15, which is unfortunate. I try to keep it around 10, but they just come back up automatically. I don't know what
Yep.
happened.
Yep. Well, you learned that from Tyler Hoover. So,
I did.
yeah.
We go to
Yeah.
dinner one day. We went to dinner 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and like all of us were there, like the whole Wichita car scene basically. And we were like, "How many cars are at this table?" And there's like 10 of us there, and we are like, "Yeah, about
Oh,
75 or 80."
that's nuts.
It was ridiculous.
Right. So,
Yeah,
in all of those, let's start with motorcycles because there's a ton of content on your channel that's motorcycle riding.
yeah.
What have been your favorite, like 2 or 3 motorcycles you've owned?
That's tough. That is really tough. I'd say my like most hated favorite motorcycle is like the one that is my channel logo, my 1198. It's a complete piece of junk to ride. Ducati can't make a motorcycle to save their lives, but it's like the best looking motorcycle, the best sounding. It's done to the nines with all the parts that you want, and the paint is incredible, pearl white. Uh, but man, it's the worst bike to ever ride because they're burning your legs because they can't control the heat in those bikes, and your back's hurting in like 5 minutes. Piece of junk, awesome bike. Like,
Yep. Yeah,
uh,
a little bit of both there.
right, right. My Gold Wing is, and I had another Ducati, the Hyper Motard 1100. We took on that rally,
Yep.
and I think that's probably one of the best bikes I've ever owned in my entire
Yeah.
life. It was
I'll have a supermoto style setup at some point.
And you should buy the Ducati. You should. Like, no doubt about it. That's probably, I've ridden all the, the Japanese supermotos.
Mhm.
They're okay. I mean, they do what you expect,
Right.
they're sewing machines, wheelies are fun. That Ducati is like visceral, and everything is good about that one.
Yeah.
So it's funny because it's a dirt bike chassis with an 1100cc engine.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I want to
Yeah.
go across somebody's yard and
Right.
have fun.
It's stupid, and you should definitely buy the stupid one.
Yeah. Yeah. Jump cars, do wheelies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I had that 300 swapped Grom, which was like
Yeah.
a Honda CBR 300 swapped into a Grom chassis, and it would go 100, and it was awesome. Like that
Yeah.
that thing it was really fun. I just didn't ride it that much.
Yep. I would imagine that would be like cruising around if there's a group of Groms or that
Right.
bike, and then
Right.
you're just like
It was the best because we all roll out together. Like there's a whole bunch of us that ride around Wichita, right?
Yeah.
And the Groms will go out with all the sport bikes for a minute, and then I'll just go with the sport bikes, and we're out on the highway, and they just leave. They stay on the surface streets. So.
Yep. That's
times.
awesome.
Yeah.
So how about cars?
Cars, favorite cars?
Mix.
That's tough. My Saab earned like a kind of a permanent spot, I think, because it's awesome to work on. I love that Saab 9.5 Aero I have.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. The R8, I've never driven mine, but I've driven a lot of other ones, and they're all really good. It's well balanced,
Yep.
And then, of course, the Miata is like the greatest car ever made.
I mean, it just, needs a turbo.
Yeah, it does. It truly does need a turbo, but it's really good in stock form. I can, if you give me some corners, I can stay with the supercars all day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because you can drive that car at the limit, put some big sticky tires on it. I was running Toyo R1Rs all the time. It eats through them in like 8,000 miles, but man, it's a tire.
Well, and the thing is, like, that car, generally 15-inch rims, 16, 17-inch rims. So those tires are cheap.
Right, they're cheap.
It would take a long time to drive 8,000 miles.
Right, and you can run
fun, dedicated car.
Yeah, and like the best part is you can run our compound tires on the street and destroy them because they're so cheap. They're like $180.
Yeah,
so.
and surprise the hell out of a lot of people.
Right, and you only go through the rear ones, really. The front ones last twice as long. So.
That's awesome. So you said you have 15 cars?
Yeah.
God, dude, you're insane. Like, I can't imagine the shuffle.
Yeah, you got to move a lot of cars.
Yeah. So give us like a quick glimpse of a few that you've got right now. So we know the R8, Roll Smoke, the 67.
Yep. The Viper truck, SRT10 Ram.
Yeah.
My Nissan Titan that I was kind of trying to rebuild, my like SEMA Nissan Titan I used to have that was perfect. I kind of just gave up and turned it into a work truck that works, and we drive it a lot.
Yep.
Porsche 944, Chevy Volt. That's my like daily that I depend on.
Yeah. That's been in a ton of content.
Love that thing. Kia Optima that we just rebuilt. It was a side impact collision, and that's for sale. Hopefully it goes away one of these days.
Yep.
The Volvo C30, 65 Ford, 82 Ford EXP, the Saab 9.5 Aero, 94 Z28 Camaro, some that haven't been in videos yet, 2008 Audi R8 twin turbo, and man, I don't know. There's stuff missing. I just don't know where it is. I have to kind of visualize where it's parked.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of in your mind, like, okay, this one's over there, that one's over here. Well, let's talk about the Kia for a second, because you actually bought it from Copart.
Right.
And like the same week, I was buying my little turd daily CRV from Copart.
Right.
So that's kind of where the conversation restarted. First, I was like, hey, you just bought one too. So obviously the video was way better than mine. Yours
shoot.
Great. But it's a flip car. So I want to talk on that for just a second. What is kind of like your, I don't know, philosophy on buying a car to flip? Flipped a ton of stuff. I mean,
I don't worry about the profit anymore. People think I'm like making money or flipping cars, and in reality, like at this stage, I make YouTube videos for a living and then work on cars to make YouTube videos. Right.
Right.
I a lot of times I don't ask for like $1 more than I've got in the car. So like even if I'm losing like $50, I'll let the car go.
Right.
Because,
So in my notes here, I have, this is my exact notes. I said, lots of the cars seem to be a quick flip, you buying at a good deal, fixing cheap, and selling at a good deal to move it quick.
yeah. It literally like it might sell for exactly what I paid for the car and the price of the parts. So
Yes.
I'm not like somebody's getting a much better car. It's value add, for them, for the
Yep.
world, and then there's content on fixing it. At least hopefully enough that somebody who's into cars can watch that and go do the same thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not out here to make any money on that. We can make the money on ads
Yeah.
and make the world a better place or something.
Well, and I mean, again, just like I said, offered somebody at a good deal, they can
Right.
enjoy it and have a good car at that point.
Right, and they can probably sell it and make money. So
Yeah.
that's the I don't have time to sit on the car. I need it out of
Yeah.
my driveway, and like it literally comes down to cars have to get out of here. I don't
Yeah.
care if I take a loss at this point.
That's awesome.
So
So what else do you like? Skate decks is my notes here, but what else do you like? Do you typically buy and sell a bunch of stuff? Have you always kind of done that?
yeah. If I find something that I can easily make money on, like stuff like the Lamborghini skateboards and stuff like that,
Yeah.
then I'll do it. But the problem is, those are probably just going to stay and get hung in my garage.
Yeah. I
The,
mean, they're pretty awesome.
they're cool, and it's just nice to buy things that are appreciating, like
Yep.
rare Supreme stuff and hype stuff that goes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
we buy and sell a ton of stuff on eBay. And so that's generally what I've used to buy car parts with,
right.
So my thought process has been, if I buy something, if it doesn't sell, okay, I own it. Big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So
And I'm
buy
not as
stuff that you actually
concerned
want
with,
to own. Don't I retail arbitrage is like really cool, and I've done a little bit of it, stuff like that.
yeah.
And I love doing that. But every once in a while, you're either going to take an L or you're going to keep it.
Yep.
So now I just try to make sure it's stuff that I actually want to keep.
Yeah. Because it may sit there for a little while
Yeah.
while you take the time to get it ready to sell.
Right. So
That's awesome. So a bunch of other stuff like I haven't seen many car rally videos in the last few months, but
we haven't gone on any rallies in a long time because
I was going to say they've been canceled.
Yeah, a lot of them are canceled. And Brian, one of my good friends with the twin turbo Huracan that we usually
Mhm.
take, hasn't wanted to do any either because I don't know. A really bad taste was left in our mouth by one of the like last rallies we did. It was like it was a lot of money for the most mediocre experience, and
Oh, dang.
and what it really came down to, like the driving was good and the people were great. They're all our friends, love all of them. But
Yep.
the organizer, like at one point, told us that this hotel that he clearly paid like $100 a night for, it was trash, was
Dang.
$400 a night. And I was like, I can just like pull up the website for this hotel on my phone
Like
and see what
Expedia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, man. And after that, we were just pretty let down because it was
Yeah.
like, I don't know, $8,000 for an event that should have been $2,000.
Dang, man, that's rough.
Yeah, so we were like, you know what, we're done for a bit.
Yep. So what is what's your favorite, if there's a rally in certain parts of the country, what's like your favorite part of the country to drive in? Because you've been all over.
I would say Cali, like every time, just because beautiful scenery and big straight roads as you head toward. Everything ends up in Vegas. Every rally ends in Vegas, honestly. So I do like to have rallies that end in Vegas because you go through Death Valley, and while you're out there, you can easily do the 200 runs and cruise at 150 and just enjoy life out there.
That's awesome. With a bunch of people that are doing the same thing you are.
Right, with a whole group of people, and we're all out there just living it up.
That's awesome. What's the best car to rally in? Because you a bunch of that too.
It's tricky. Actually, that Huracan is always good with me. But if you were picking some, I did one at ISF, our RCF, not our ISF, and that was okay. It was one of the expresses that we did.
Yeah.
And the problem is the transmission in that car makes rallying a nightmare. The engine is all there for it. That car it's awesome as a touring car. The engine loves life, but the transmission is like everyone like accelerates and you got to wait and then downshift like 3 times and wait for it to catch up. I don't know. That was okay. We did one in just an RT Charger one year, one of the earliest Expresses. I think the
Yeah.
second Express. And that was actually good because it's a good touring car. Like the Challenger and the Charger are pretty bad at everything other than making smoke, and good touring cars, right? Cool sounds too. They make good sounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Definitely.
but yeah, it was like leather, suede inserts, heated cooled seats, heated cooled cup holders. So you can just absolutely relax out on the highway while the supercar people are like struggling and having to deal with, poor ergonomics. And
Yep.
you're just like enjoying life in like a
Just
normal
cruising.
car.
Eh,
Yeah. Yeah. And
that's
it'll still
awesome.
go 165 mile an hour. So you can hang
Yeah.
out. Like, yeah,
And that's fast enough.
it
Most
is.
of the time,
It'll always get it done. You can keep up. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not going to be too far behind.
Right.
That's awesome. All right. So let's switch gears. Let's talk YouTube.
Sure.
I mean, like, almost 250,000 subscribers. You're doing something right.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing anything right. It's just a lot of content, daily content. Everyone asks, everybody wants to know what the secret is, and I was like, just work hard and don't stop.
Yeah. And
So
edit well. Like, that's the big thing.
I guess I don't think I do anything special on the editing or production side. I just kind of cut together what I was doing as fast as I can. It takes about 3 hours a night in editing at this point.
Yeah.
You got 10, 15 minutes of ingest, pulling everything off the cards, an hour and a half in actual editing, 30 minutes of render and then upload and all that stuff, processing on YouTube and metadata. That's almost an hour because YouTube's really slow.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah. So it's a big time sink right there.
Yeah.
And you gotta be prepared for that. Like I have to make sure that I'm done working at home by 9 every night.
And like, think about this. Like what if you were, like, I follow a lot of mountain bike guys, I mean, these guys like roll into Starbucks to upload their stuff. I'm like, I can't imagine living in a van and like going through the air, like,
yeah. Well, luckily Starbucks Wi-Fi is fast. I can't tell you how many times like Starbucks and McDonald's are where I'm at too.
That's awesome.
And a lot of times it'll be on the road uploading over my phone.
Yep.
I'll just tether the phone, and of course it takes like almost 2 hours at that point instead of 30 minutes to upload.
Yep.
But it also, I think a lot of it comes down to big files because everything I do is in 4K. So those numbers might sound exaggerated, but they're not because I'm uploading like a 3 gig file every day.
Jeez, that's nuts.
It does take some time.
What do you record with? Like, what's your camera of choice?
Sony action camera, the FDR X3000. It's an old little tiny thing. And
sweet.
The whole reason I use it is because it has a native mic input. And of course the GoPro and stuff doesn't.
Yep.
And the GoPro's mic input never works. So that's why.
Well, so it's been pretty good. We record on a 4.
I bought that too. And it's
I know. I've got to do that one day. The hardest part is like we move too much to feel like I could use that,
Right. It's so much work. You need a camera operator. Yeah. But yeah, you're using a GoPro 4, which is 4K. Like that's a good camera. I had 4 of those.
We've had good luck with the microphone, but like we're fixing to buy an 8 so I can get the stability.
Right.
Dude, the microphone adapter is $50. I'm like, get off of that. Like,
so the problem is like it's not even like the cost. I don't care about like $50. I get it, whatever. GoPro, I did bulk at it for like 2 years, and I was like, I'm not buying that stupid adapter because it's actually $70. I think. And then everyone started having failures with it because the USB port is not great. So it'll start, it adds a failure point in the chain, and it will fail. It's guaranteed to fail. And I don't know, you're just gonna have to deal with that, right? Or
that sucks.
They made the media mod, which adds a microphone jack and a shotgun mic right on the camera.
Yep.
And that thing is a pile of trash, and everybody I know that's using it is having just massive problems with the camera overheating then, and just problem central. So I don't know I would just say, if you're going to use a GoPro, give up on using a microphone. That's really it. Yeah.
I guess I could just voice over all the stuff.
Or you could fix it the right way, which is your little Tascam recorder. And I use this whenever I'm shooting stuff where the audio matters. And it's just, a pocket audio recorder with a micro SD slot. And then this is the Ryko Undercover, So it's got a lapel mic, and this is adhesive, and you put it under your shirt so it's all gone, right? And then,
Right.
yep, it's all hidden. That's it.
Okay. I'll do that for sure. Cause I mean, that's not hard
Yeah.
to move that around.
Yeah, it's not a big deal to sync the audio. I mean, it adds time, and it's only like $100, so it's the same price as a media mod.
Right. And the media mod's going to make
it's going to break. Yeah.
yeah.
And the Hero
awesome.
8 is awesome from a video standpoint. Most people that are starting on YouTube, I just say like 100% use your phone or use a GoPro.
Yeah.
There's no reason to get complicated with it because the story.
I think the first 150 videos we did, I did on my phone and just did it with iMovie. And then,
absolutely.
Hey, I need to do something better. And I literally gave $150 for 2 GoPros and a ton of accessories. You know,
right.
And that served us well for another 200 and something videos.
Absolutely, cranking them out.
Yep. So let's talk about videos for a second. I went back through and dug your early YouTube. Dude, you've been on like YouTube for like 11 years.
Yeah, since honestly, like the year YouTube started was when I joined. It's an original channel.
That's
YouTube
awesome.
Came out in like 04, 05. And my channel shows like the start date was like August something 05 or something like that.
That's awesome. So yeah, longer than 11 years then for sure.
Yeah, and I would say I was just kind of throwing stuff at the wall, being like, YouTube early, and it was mostly just because it seemed like a cool thing to do, not for like you know, a career or to have a successful channel.
Yeah, I was gonna say your first videos are typical early, mid 2000s videos. They're a minute, 2-3 minutes. No,
right.
It's like I recorded this on my potato, and I'm gonna.
Exactly. Yep. And I think once I got a taste of like a YouTube video that worked, which was my like Apple Pay video back in the day.
Oh my God, dude, that thing's insane.
Yeah, it did like 250,000 views in one day, and it got covered on like Mac Rumors and Apple, all the Apple forums basically posted it, and Reddit and stuff like that.
That's cool.
After that took off, I was like, well, we could probably do this again. So we tried random stuff, and then eventually I just started making videos about the cars we were working on.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, when did you begin like developing, like thinking about the videos? But I guess that answers that question.
Yeah, honestly, I should have been doing it way before, because we were like, back in the day, we were legitimately flipping cars. Like we were going out buying $300 cars every day, like as many as we could get our hands on and stuff like that, and then just fixing them that day and selling them. Like, and they were always like crazy issues and really fun fixes and stuff like that were interesting.
Oh, man.
And just grinding through those, and we were going through, a ton of cars.
So the story, kids, is start recording.
Yeah. Like find not just start recording, but find what you're good at and what you actually want to do, because you can't change directions. So like no one will support you if you change directions. Is kind of
and that's why we started a mountain bike only channel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was putting them on, and I was like, I didn't want to, because I can do a mountain bike video like almost every day at lunch,
right,
trail or whatever here in Bentonville. So I didn't want to like overload car people with mountain bike stuff. Like,
sure, it's kind of two different audiences. I don't know. I'm kind of really into everything. If it's like mechanical in some way, I'm into it. Even if it's electronic, because it's all still like mechanical. It all comes down to like 12 volts and like simple like basic electrical knowledge. And my bikes do too, because I'm like, I want electronic shifting. Obviously I need e-tap or something on the bike.
Yeah, I mean, totally. E-bikes and like the Mojo cycles here in town. We were talking about electronic shifting with them. I'm like, no, I can't do it. I need mechanical.
No, you need electrical.
I work on my bikes. I'm like, I need somebody smarter than me to do.
That stuff's all easy. It's just an electronic derailleur. Like, it's not a big deal. Yeah.
No thanks. I'll let you do that. That works. So I was kind of trying to do the math. It looks like you've loaded more than like 675, 680 videos, something like that.
Let's look, because I don't actually know.
You just do it.
I believe you. Yeah, I never look. But I'm about to look. So channel. And
I think you kind of answered it earlier. Like, once you got a little bit of success, you were like, I think I can make this work.
Yeah.
So what was your, like, now, obviously, and you've told me 10 times I need to post daily. I just can't. I can't get to the shop that often, And so what was your early posting schedule like? I mean, did you have one? Was it like, hey, I'm going to work on some stuff. I'm going to post this up today.
That's a great question. It's almost like stuff that I've forgotten on what I was doing there. Um, Man, at first I didn't see the video count, but yeah. So some of the early ones were like the Cavalier and stuff like that, and the limo, and those ones probably weren't daily. I think the limos videos were every 3 days or something like that.
Dude, the limo stuff was hilarious.
I loved the limo. That was
Like
so much
the
fun.
popcorn in the
Yeah.
stack, that was great.
It was so cool because it would cook popcorn in the exhaust and blow it out. Like that was awesome.
Yeah,
But
I'm gonna have to link a bunch of these in the show notes. So people,
oh yeah, those are my favorite videos. The ones where we just go have fun, but they
Yep.
don't usually do well. They usually tank. So if I'm having fun, I know the video's bad. Yeah.
That's crazy. So I also sorted your videos by the most popular.
Sure.
It really blew me away because I've watched a bunch of your stuff and it's fun stuff, but like your number one video is like $1,000 Civic flip.
Yeah, it is.
What the hell? Like, what's wrong with you people?
I don't know. Those are kind of the best cars to work on too, because they're.
Oh yeah, I mean Civics are definitely the way to go. But like, it blew me away that was the car that was number one. Not any of the rally stuff. Not any.
No. Give up on
truck.
rally content. Does not work. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to.
Yeah, I think they're jealous. Their jealousy comes through at that point.
I honestly, that's what I was gonna say. I wasn't gonna say it though. I was like, people hate that. They don't want to see you out enjoying life like that, and being able to break the law with impunity and stuff like that. Like that, because that's kind of what rallies come down to, is that there's a lot of power in a big group, right? I mean, I don't know if we should have this discussion at all, but that like when you put 40 cars together, cops can only pull over one person.
Yeah.
So you're good. Like you can do whatever you want, and you just end up having like the greatest time in the world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But the videos of it tank. Like you can't show it. You can't show it because you shouldn't post that for like 60 days probably.
Yeah.
And
you shouldn't pass on double yellows.
Right.
You don't want to kill your buddies.
Yeah. There's it's just too much stuff that you can't. It just has to be done in person. There's nothing.
Well, and a lot of it, you miss the driving aspect of it. So like, you're not going to sit on the side of the road and watch everybody come by.
Right. Yeah. I don't.
You're in it.
Yeah. There's media crews for that, and that's never. We're not stopping and shooting. Like that's.
No.
I think we did once. Like one of the first expresses we did, we tried to like actually kind of do the media side of it. But then I made it more of like an experience thing, and it's just not worth shooting it at all. You just have to go do it, and then realize that you're going to be unproductive for 3 days.
Oh yeah, me and Robert Lee, so we went on Southern 2019 or 2018, and have hours and hours of just us driving. I'm like, the most boring stuff to watch ever. Like in the car, you're hauling ass. 30-mile-an-hour corners were like 100, but like. It doesn't look like that in the video.
No, it looks so boring. I've got a bunch of video from like driving on Texas Motor Speedway and all kinds of like stuff that is really cool if you're there, and it's just not cool on video. You have to you have to be a film company, or a huge media crew to make that stuff.
Yeah, because you have to have multiple different camera angles, and I'm not going to do all that. So I'm going to put together a video for that, just mainly because like my thought process is after my dad passed away, we had videos with him in it, right?
Sure.
So like, I'm going to document a ton of stuff so I can have that later and show my grandkids, see, Papa was cool. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
So that's kind of my thought process on a lot of stuff, just to show them, hey, I did do all these stories I'm telling you about.
Right. So that's why I do shoot them as like an experience thing now, and not as like a media oriented thing. I'm like, hey, we're doing this rally. And if
that's right. Yep. So being as YouTube famous as you are, do you get recognized a bunch?
I don't know.
Are you cruising through an airport and they're like, dude, that's JRGo.
Yeah. You already know the story. One of the like a TSA agent in Ohio was like, dude, get through here. I know who you are. What's up? Yeah, I got a bunch of cars. That's awesome. Too. So sometimes, actually, and then again on my last flight to like South Carolina a few weeks ago, just random. It's actually always in an airport where you run into enough people that recognize you, you know.
That's
Otherwise
cool.
it's not, no. But
Yeah. So I've done way more car videos than mountain bike videos, and I get recognized on mountain bike. I'm like, dude, like what the hell? But I think it's
yeah,
like locally, a bunch of folks know me anyways from the car show stuff
sure.
and things like that. So,
Yeah.
have you ever seen someone like you've been out, been in an airport? Sounds like you see a lot of people there that's like wearing your apparel, and you're like, dude, that's me.
I don't think maybe one time ever I saw somebody else that was wearing one of my shirts, but I just don't sell a lot of apparel. If people
Yeah.
think I sell a lot of merch, I don't. It's maybe like couple hundred shirts total.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
That's still
not.
a bunch.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not enough to like run into it in real life. It's
Right. Yeah. I guess that's a good point.
yeah.
So on videos, one thing that I've noticed about some folks is like you end up way, way behind, but as often as you post, like how far behind do you think you are? Like if I'm watching a video you load today, like how long ago was that shot?
Oh, it's the same day. Always.
God, that's awesome,
I
dude.
fly by the seat of my pants every day of my life. It's like if you're watching a video, yeah, there might be 2 Volvo videos queued up. So you're looking at what, maybe Monday and Tuesday, because yesterday I worked on the Camaro all day and didn't get to like do the Volvo video. So
Yeah.
like that one might be a day behind, but like it's always real time. You're watching
See,
what I'm doing in real life.
and I think that's what's so cool about YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, like you would have a TV show on Discovery, let's say, right?
Yeah.
Like now, people are like living in the same timeline you're in. You know,
Right. Yeah. When you're
Sorry,
watching
when it's
Discovery
old.
shows, it's always like a year old at least.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's probably a rerun. But yeah, they shot that, you know, at least a year before typically.
See, that's crazy.
Yeah. And you're watching like live looks. If you're like following me on Instagram, you're
Yep.
just watching like a preview of the video that's going to drop in 3 hours kind of thing. Like
That's cool.
it's that tight. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
And
always really neat.
it's not even on purpose. It's just because I have to. It's not like
Yeah.
I
Well, I mean,
literally
like-
have to work like that. Yeah.
Well, so we're in this weird mix right now, right? So like I'm upgrading cameras. I'm going on Rocky Mountain Race Week. I have like we only post twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, because I get to the shop 2 nights a week. So
Right.
we work Friday nights. I edit over the next couple of days, post it Tuesday.
Sure.
So I can gather some stuff up because I don't work as often as you do. The thing about God, where was I going with all that? Because it made me think I've got to edit a video that I've got. Anyways, all right.
You do. Yeah.
Yeah, badly. Because so I now know where I was going. So Rocky Mountain Race Week. So I've got enough videos stockpiled to not release anything until Rocky Mountain Race Week that is new and fresh. Okay,
Gotcha.
so I'll finish up a couple videos like the LS Swap Grand Wagoneer. We'll finish it up.
Sure.
That'll be part of the end of a video that I've got like a month's worth of shit on, you know?
Yeah.
So I think at that point, that may be the goal is to, like, we're going to do a video every day for Rocky Mountain Race Week, video and podcast every day for Rocky Mountain.
Yeah.
And then after that, the wife has already kind of given me the green light to work in the shop as much as I need. So like, now I'm like, okay, how do I create a video every day that somebody's going to watch that's not 4 minutes, you know?
Right. I mean, it's got to be a 10-minute video anyway if you want the algorithm to promote it. Yeah.
Yeah. 10 minutes. And because you got to have a time for an ad to get in there.
Right.
Yep.
It just kind of does all that automatically. You just make sure that you hit. Honestly, you can hit 8 now. They changed it. I'm sure you saw the announcement. But yeah, 10 minutes. I don't care what they changed it to. I want to make something that you want to like sit down and watch, not something that you're going to watch on your phone for like 30 seconds. Like, it's a story, and I shoot for like 15 minutes every day, no matter what.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I try to make sure I did at least 25 minutes of work. If I have 25 minutes of video, I know I'll hit the actual 15 during the edit.
That's awesome. Yeah, see, like we were getting to where it was basically just busy work, me in the background, and it was like 10 minutes of video of 3 hours because it's you know, so I was speeding it up.
It is. Yeah.
But what's the future of WatchJRGo YouTube? Like, I mean,
hopefully building the new shop and like super like the ultimate YouTube work house kind of thing. It'll be like
dude, I
massive.
heard about this.
Massive building. Yeah. So we get like the building plan, and I'm working on the land deal right now. And if all that
Yeah.
works out, yeah, then I'll have a place that other people can come work to, that are like other Wichita YouTubers and friends that need a lift, stuff like that.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah. It'll just be a huge shop to work on cars and for me to live in.
Wow. That'll be
Yeah.
neat. Like how big is big? Like 60 by 40?
No, it's a 200 by 100.
God dang, I'm
Yeah.
so jealous. Dude, that's awesome.
No, I grew up with a 60 by 40 here in Kansas. As soon as we moved here, my dad built a 60 by 40,
Wow.
and I mean that thing was full in like, I don't know, it didn't take long. It's basically,
Yeah.
you can't even walk through the shop. So we
Dang, 200 by 100. Dude, you're a hero.
well, it's because my dad has, for his company, a 300 by 100, and I know how full that is.
Yeah.
And I mean, they do their own thing. I've got nothing to do with any of that, and
I mean,
don't
think
worry.
like 15 cars. I mean, that's a big area to start.
It is. That's what it comes down to.
Like it's all the parts that go.
You need so much floor space,
Yeah.
and I'll actually, like, that'll be where I'll stash the collection too. Like
Yep.
every generation Corvette, every generation Camaro, and then like other random stuff that I like the Saab probably. So
That's awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome. So,
yeah. The other thing is, I think a lot of comments are like, "Where's this car? Where's this car?" And I want to put a stop to that because it's taking away from the story, and it has no bearing on anything.
yep.
But if you can see them all right there in a row on the lifts, like no one has
Yep.
any questions to ask. It stops all the questions that are pointless, and it lets you focus on the car I'm actually working on, which is what I cared about at the time.
Right. How many times a day does your phone ding because you've got a new comment on a video?
Oh, you should shut that off. You should stop reading comments and stop worrying. Yeah. Like
Let it handle itself.
yeah. It's let that be democratic. I don't delete comments. I don't regulate the comments really. Every once in a while, I'll like sarcastically pin a comment if it's like something where somebody's like really hating on the story or something, in the car. I'll like, yeah, I'm gonna pin this and let it get tore apart.
Yeah, just let
Because
them get destroyed.
it's self-regulating, and I respond to, I check the comments for a minute when it comes out, and I try to respond to everybody until I go to bed, which is about 30 minutes after the video drops. And
That's cool.
and after that, don't worry about it. Don't pay
Yeah,
attention.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
because the
So,
comments will, like, they'll lead you astray from where you should be focusing. Like, you were probably doing the right thing. Keep doing what you were doing and ignore the comments.
yeah, well, especially the negative ones. Everybody's like, cheering on. Yeah, thanks.
Right.
Appreciate that. You know what I mean?
No, I the people that want to follow you will keep following you, and
Yeah.
it really comes. Those are the people that I want to interact with, and I want to like filter out the noise. And if you read all
Yeah.
the comments, especially after the first 30 minutes, it's probably noise. So
Yep.
stay with the people that matter. Yeah.
Yeah, because when I get the ding that, hey, you uploaded a new video, I'm probably like, I'm gonna look at it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But
So
but
that's
the
a good point
comments,
after the first 30 minutes.
forget the comments. Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
I used to really focus on them. I think it was actually a big growth factor for me early on, was I responded to every comment no matter what. And I'd spend like 4 hours a day responding to comments because I was sitting at a desk doing nothing. Right. And I just like reply. And it was cool because like you were interacting with everybody,
Yep.
but that's kind of all the people that were close anyway, because the channel was small. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's probably a little harder. I can't imagine
yeah. I mean,
600 something videos uploaded. If one person, I mean, like, and I'm sure there's controversial ones in there that,
yeah, especially the Camaro video has like 2,000 comments with everybody
Jeez.
saying don't LS swap it. So
you're like, shut up. I'm going
obviously it's too late. I mean, the engine's here and the parts are here. I'm not gonna not swap the car.
Have you seen the Holly boxes on the front porch?
Yeah, it was
awesome.
decided. I wouldn't have bought the car if I didn't have an engine that could be shipped within like 5 minutes. There's no way.
Yeah.
I called for the engine first, and then I bought the car. And I think people need to understand that, like, that's how the parts deals work.
Yeah. Small block Chevrolets don't do well at LS Fest.
No, and first they're not allowed. I actually ask. I did call Holly and ask if I could take that Camaro with just like a sniper EFI on it, and they were like, no. So I was like,
what
okay.
LS Fest?
So what if I LS swap it? And they were like, yeah, okay, I'll do that.
That's awesome. And the thing, like, that car's got a ton of aftermarket support for that.
Literally, I didn't understand just how crazy it is. All you need is the VIN plate. You can throw the rest of the car in the trash. Like, they make every single panel. And mine is mostly rotted. Like, it needs front fenders, rear quarters, trunk pan. Even the new floors are trash. but you can
Wow.
buy them all as like, you can actually buy the entire floor as a single piece front to back. We're just going to cut it all out and just replace it all because it's all rot. So
You're going to do that before LS Fest or after?
I don't know. Like we're sitting there right now doing that. Do we start cutting or do we wait? Do we start cutting? Do we wait? Because we can do the engine swap in a day, right? That's not a big
Yep.
deal. Drivetrain's easy. It's
Yep.
just bolts. But body work is not easy.
No.
And
Actually cutting the floor out of one.
yeah. But at the same time, it's a complete floor, and you just set it up there, take a permanent marker, mark it, cut inside the line by a quarter inch, and then cut it out with the chop saw or with your Milwaukee cordless grinder, and it really is easy.
You said plasma cutter wrong.
Plasma cutter is probably the move, but that steel is so thin, plasma cutter is almost more rough.
Yeah. And then you got to go in and clean it up. So you're probably better with a cut.
Right. You'll have a really nice cutoff wheel line if you put some tape on it and do a good job. Yeah.
Yep. So with building a 200 by 100, that'll give you plenty of room for an airplane.
So
I saw you're going to start getting your pilot's license.
My dad's buildings are actually airplane hangars that we bought. We bought them from a local like Votech school that taught A&P and stuff like that, right? So eventually they moved to a new building and they sold off their whole campus, and Dad just likes going to auctions and buying stuff. So he bought this 100 by 100 for I think I don't know, 15, 20 grand, right?
Wow, dang, that's cheap.
Yeah, it was really cheap. And then we rolled in there with just our family and friends, my brother, my dad, and a couple friends. And I think we rented a telehandler and we borrowed a bucket truck from a family friend who had he was like, I don't use this bucket truck, you guys can use it. So we rolled in there in the winter and we tore the building. We started tearing down everything that was small, breaking down the bathrooms with sledgehammers and tearing down all the lights and everything. And then we rented a telehandler and bought our own bucket truck. Dad did. And it's like a 55-foot all-tech dual bucket with a material handler, like a crane on it.
Dang.
And that plus a scissor lift was all we needed to tear the whole building down. So, of course, you can buy old bucket trucks, big bucket trucks like that are dirt cheap. They're like $20,000.
Wow.
Yeah, you figure those bucket trucks new were like $250,000, but you can buy them. You can buy them for like 20 grand if you buy them used with poor maintenance. So we grabbed that, tore the whole building down, put it on trailers, and hauled it out to some land, and then we had somebody come do the foundation, and we stood it back up ourselves. So
that's awesome.
Then you're only in the whole building $40,000, which is less than even the steel cost of a new one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
we've got like 18 in the shop I've got, and it's a 30 by 40.
Right.
Right.
And we usually just stand up these buildings ourselves because we can do it really fast with our hack job ways, which is just taking the backhoe and a chain and wrapping the red iron around the bucket and just tilting the bucket until the building stands up. Yeah. And somebody will be out on the other end with a material handler, and then one of us will crawl down the beam and run it in with a cordless impact. And we're like, yeah, look, we did it.
There you go.
OSHA would not appreciate this.
Yeah, but it's not a business, so you're good.
Right.
People aren't getting paid weekly checks to do that.
Right. And as long as the foundation's done right, the rest of it's just Legos. None of it's rocket science. It just goes up. Yeah, it just stands up, and it's bolted onto the footing. It's already got bolts in the footings, and run them in, tighten them down to spec, and it's done.
Dude, that's nuts. So let's talk airplanes for a minute.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was saying. That it still has, his big building has a 100-foot hangar door because it was a hangar that we tore down.
Oh, that's awesome.
Kind of cool.
So, and you're getting your license now, so you're going to be flying all over the country for flip deals now,
huh? No, because you can't bring them home. What do you can't put a trailer on the airplane.
Throw that thing in the back.
Right. Yeah, I don't have a C-130 or anything.
Right. That's crazy. So, obviously everybody wants to be pilots. I think that's just motorcycles and cars now want to go, faster and get there quicker. And
it comes down to the greatest freedom there is. When you're 16, a car is freedom, and then eventually a car becomes the opposite of freedom because it's just sitting in a cage forever. And if you had a plane, you could have been there in 30 minutes instead of 4 hours.
Dude. And my wife doesn't fly, so every trip we take is in the car.
Yeah.
load up, let's go. Like, no, please, no.
Not again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
cool.
Roads
Well,
get
dude,
old.
yeah, I'm gonna let you get back to work. I really appreciate you doing this.
Oh, absolutely.
I
Anytime.
don't know how many podcasts you've been on. I hope this one wasn't the shitty one.
Oh, no, not at all. Yeah. Yeah.
So I really appreciate, dude. And hey, I want everybody to know you've given me so many. Like, I'll mess 11 o'clock at night and go, hey, what do you think about this? And you always reply. That blows my mind.
yeah, I try. It's
Yeah.
because people like Tyler Hoover and stuff are always there for me too, and we're all up until 1 a.m, luckily. So always down to respond. But
That's awesome.
yeah, thanks for having me, man.
I appreciate it, dude. Thanks a bunch.
Yeah, I'm gonna go mount some tires.
Sweet. See you.
All right, see ya.